Hey, 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 everybody. It's Friday. Oh, I think Erica has some internet issues over there. I think she's moving or something, so she's having some internet issues. But hey, everybody. Hey, audience. How are y'all doing today? It is Feel Good Friday. It is Fabulous Friday. It's Funky Friday. It's Freaky Fridays. It's whatever y'all want it to be Fridays. Welcome to the Home Buyers Clubhouse. My name is Jessie Lynn. I am a triangle realtor with A to Z Realty. Nicole, introduce yourself, sweetie.
I am Nicole Crawford. I'm a realtor with Keller Williams Realty, and I service the Greensboro Triad area.
Awesome. Erica, honey, how are you doing? Introduce yourself.
Yes, I am Erica Batts with New American Funding, and I'm a mortgage lender.
She's struggling. Erica's been on vacation, y'all. She don't even know where she is. I think she just froze on us. She's moving. She got all kinds of stuff going on. But anyway, look, you guys, I am excited today. We are talking about student loans, everything student loans. If anything you want to know about student loans, anything you need a forgiving, you need whatever, you need a loan, whatever. We have Miss Tesha McMillon here. She's in the studio, and we are about to bring her in. Hey, girl, how you doing? Welcome to the Home Buyers Clubhouse. Introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are with and what you do and how you do it and when you do it.
Okay, so my name is Tesha McMillon, and I am the CEO of a business I call the H.E.L.P. H.E.L.P stands for Higher Education Literacy Provider. I provide higher education literacy to federal loan borrowers as it relates to student loan repayment, consolidation, loan forgiveness, cancellation, discharge, and default. I also provide information concerning financial aid, FAFSA scholarships, and all that other stuff. So if it's dealing with Title IV funds, which is federal student aid, I know it.
Awesome. So I'm sure Nicole has a lot of questions. Erica has some questions. The audience, they have a lot of questions. I have some questions. I don't have a lot of questions, unfortunately. I usually do. But I'm gonna go and answer my questions, you guys, because I'm sorry. I'm gonna just be rude. Audience, drop your questions in the box below if you have any questions. But seriously, look, I didn't go to college and I didn't understand. Like, I have a son, he's 20 years old. And I didn't understand, like, I've always said, Hickey, you can pay for your own college or whatever and all this other stuff. And I never knew, like, how stressful it would be for him to do all of that. Because I had a friend said when I was in high school, she was paying for her own college or whatever. And I thought that's what my son could do. But every time, like right now, he's out of Liberty and he's trying to transition over to, like, a technical college or something. So my question to you is, for someone like me and for my son who is a dependent, because he still lives with me, how can he apply for his own college without using me? Or if he used me, how would it affect me? Because right now I want to refinance my house later on down the road, and I don't want it to affect me because I see that a lot. So how?
So that's a good question, because there's lots of misconceptions in our community when it comes to financial aid and FAFSA. A student who is under the age of 24 is a dependent student, and they must have a parent's information on their FAFSA. So your information on his FAFSA doesn't put you in more debt. It's the way the school or the university calculates his ability to receive need-based aid, such as the Pell Grant, the North Carolina Need-Based Scholarship, or SEOG, and other federal free money. So a student cannot submit a FAFSA without a parent's information on it if they're under the age of 24. In order for them to do that, they have to claim some type of, they must qualify as a independent student. And in order to qualify for that, they have to meet one of the criteria, which is maybe they're married, maybe they have some kids, maybe they're in the armed forces or something like that. So there has to be some qualifying factor that makes a student under the age of 24 be independent, where they do not put their parents on. But putting your information on his FAFSA, which is just the financial information, doesn't impact anything with you. It's not going to do anything to your credit. It's just a matter of us, meaning the financial aid office, determining how much need-based aid your student qualifies for.
See, I love that. Thank you so much, girl. Because I was like, no, you're not. because I hear that a lot. Even in real estate, we have a lot of buyers. That's their issue is student loans. They can't buy a house because of student loans of this and all of that. And I'm just like, look, I'm about to refinance. I'm not trying to be one of those people. So thank you so much. I thank you. All right, Nicole, you have a question for her?
Oh, well, I mean, hey, we're gonna jump in and get started. I will see. It's different for me because I went to college as an adult student and went through at that point where I think all of us were going to school, and if we were going to live, we were living off our student loan money. So I have acquired a lot. I mean, I got enough to pay off somebody's house. I would say, I guess my biggest question is now that we're 10 plus years into that, really trying to get rid of it is the best way to just tackle it and break it down and get rid of it, because I don't want $1,100 payment. I really don't.
So let me just say, most of the clients that I have, because even though I do the literacy, I also have clients. My highest client has over $500,000 in student loan debt. I work with a loan servicer for 15 years. So I've seen enough debt to where my heart just kind of stopped for a minute. Like, oh my God, somebody has that much student loan debt. There's really, truly no way to get rid of a student loan. Like literally, unless you pay it off, it's not going anywhere. Forgiveness is not immediate. The goal, and I tell everybody's just not going to qualify for loan forgiveness. Sometimes the goal is just not the default. Sometimes the goal is to get this payment to the lowest payment possible so that you can afford to live and finally find some comfort in knowing you're going to continue to pay this thing probably for the rest of your life. That's just what it is for a lot of people. So the goal is to get the payment to the lowest payment possible, because truthfully, if you want to pay your student loan off and you actually want to see the balance come down, you really need to be in a standard repayment plan. But the standard repayment plan is based off of a 10-year repayment. And depending on your loan balance, that can be a very high payment with everything else you have going on, because it doesn't take into consideration your other debt. It's just a matter of this debt needs to be paid off within 10 years. So I would just say the goal is to get the payment to the lowest payment possible, whether you're in an income-driven repayment plan or an alternative repayment plan, but just get it as low as possible and just pay it every month until the Lord calls you home. Or until Biden decides if he's going to give us forgiveness, and I don't see that happening. No,
I don't either. So when you talk about the income driven repayment plan, what is that?
So the income-driven repayment plan is a payment plan that gives you a payment that's based off of your income and your family size. So it doesn't take into consideration anything that you pay out, and no repayment plan does. So let me just preface that. No repayment plan that your student loan servicer offers you will take into consideration the fact that you have a mortgage and car payments and all of that. It doesn't. So the income-driven repayment plan will calculate a payment that's based off of your income and your family size. So the payment is supposed to be less than your standard monthly payment. But if you're a high income earner, and you don't have, depending on how much loan debt you have, you may not qualify for an income-driven repayment plan. You may just need to go into an alternative repayment plan, and that's just a plan that gives you more time to pay your loan off. Instead of the 10 years, you're going to get 25 or 30 years. But keep in mind that additional time that they're giving you, of course, you're going to be paying more back in interest, but it's also going to give you time to get that payment lower. It's going to stretch it. So it's going to stretch your repayment term, and it's going to lower your payment to something that you should be hopefully comfortable with paying each month to keep your loan from defaulting.
Gotcha.
Awesome. So my question for you is, could you let everyone again know what the H.E.L.P stands for?
H.E.L.P stands for Higher Education Literacy Provider. So what I do is I just provide the literacy. Now, there's lots of companies and third parties out there that will charge fees to do documents, and they're called documentation preparation services. And they will, and sometimes they do some unscrupulous things to try to convince you or to make you believe they're your servicer to get your information, to charge you for things that you can do for free. And I tell everyone up front, there's nothing that I do that you can't do with your servicer for free. I don't mind having a conversation about your loan debt and telling you from my 15 years of experience of working with the servicer what I feel like will get you to the best place possible based off of what your ultimate goal is. So we can have that conversation. But if I have to do some paperwork, then we're going to talk about some prices because it takes time. It's very time consuming to submit documents on behalf of a borrower. And plus I'm monitoring it and making sure that everything is processes according to what what I know it should happen. And I'm also checking behind the servicer. But I provide the literacy. If you hear something, you heard, you want more questions about something, or you just need help with understanding something, then I'm who you call. We have a conversation, you call me, we talk, and then you go off into the abyss and I never know who you are.
Awesome. So we have someone on YouTube, Dope Aggie Chick. She would like to know is how hard is it to get an income-based repayment plan?
It's not hard at all. They actually, the application is probably on your servicer's website. Once you fill it out and send it back with your copy of your tax return, your servicer has up to 14 days to process it. Now, keep in mind, income-driven repayment plans were meant for people who have low income with relatively high student loan debt. So someone who makes, I don't know, 80,000 and who has about 50,000 in student loan debt, you're not going to be approved for that. So you just have to be understanding that it's for really low income people who have very high debt or relatively high student loan debt compared to their income. Most people that I know or who contact me have six-figure student loan debt. I don't get anybody who owes 20 or 30,000. The norm right now seems to be almost six figures, to be honest. Ooh. Which is sad because, you know, school and college is not higher education anymore. It's more businesses. So it is definitely it's much more money than it was before. So if you're interested in getting the income-driven repayment plan, I would strongly advise you to speak to your loan servicer or at least get the form off of the website and fill it out and submit it in. If you're not eligible, they'll tell you that. If you are, they're going to put you into the repayment plan that's going to give you the lowest payment.
Awesome. Awesome. So did that answer your question? All right, here we go. We have another one. I don't know what that means. Should everyone do a IBRP?
I think IBR. So there's 4 different types of income-based repayment plans. If you're not sure which one you want, on the form, it actually asks you to tell your servicer to figure out which one's going to give you the lowest payment. Let them calculate which one is going to give you the lowest payment and put you in that plan. They all pretty much do the same thing. The difference is how interest is, the difference is the interest, and it's about the forgiveness. So depending on the age of your loans, income-driven repayment plans are also loan forgiveness plans. Most people forget that part because everybody wants public service loan forgiveness because that's 10 years. Everybody wants that 10-year forgiveness, but everybody doesn't work in public service loan forgiveness fields. So for those who don't, you can still do income-driven repayment and you can still qualify for loan forgiveness. It's just that you're not going to receive forgiveness until after 20 or 25 years of repayment, and it depends on the age of your loans.
Look at Nicole's face. What is that, Nicole?
She said 20 to 25 years. That's a lot.
And it's going to be whatever the remaining balance is what they're going to forgive after 20 or 25 years.
Mm. Yes. All right. Mm-hmm. So, all right. I think you've answered most of it because I have it written down and you've given out so much information. Dope Aggie Chick, is that yes? She's answered your questions, or you're answering yes to something that she said? So for me is, so the whole student loan repayment or consolidation or the entire refi. Hold on. Somebody else here. So they want to know, how does loan forgiveness work for nurses?
So that's public service loan forgiveness. So, and if you're interested in public service loan forgiveness, you need to be in an income-driven repayment plan, and your loans need to be federal direct loans. Now, keep in mind, there's 2 different types of federal loans, and there's federal private, which are FEL loans, which are FFEL. It stands for Federal Family Education Loan Program loans. And then there's direct loans, which are loans made by William D. Ford, the government. So William D. Ford, those are the loans that are eligible for public service loan forgiveness. So if you have William D. Ford federal direct loans and you're interested in public service loan forgiveness, you would need to, 1, fill out the public service loan forgiveness application. It's the ECF form. It's the employment certification form. So it's the part where you're going to fill it out, and then you're going to give it to HR and let your HR department fill out the second part to verify that they are a qualifying agency. And then once you do that, you're going to send it to, right now, Fed Loans is still the one doing public service loan forgiveness, but that whole program is being transferred over to MOHELA because Fed Loans will no longer be servicing student loans at the end of the year. So MOHELA will be the new federal loan servicer for public service loan forgiveness. And you're just going to send that form to Fed Loans. And once they review it and they determine that you qualify, then you're actually in public service loan forgiveness. But keep in mind, one requirement of public service loan forgiveness is that you have to qualify for an income-driven repayment plan. So if you do not qualify for or income-driven repayment plan, you're not going to be eligible for public service loan forgiveness. It's two parts.
Awesome. And Dope Aggie Chick says that only for federal loan servicers.
For is that what is the that is we're talking about public service loan forgiveness? Is that
I think they were talking about the
I think so.
Yes, it is for only for federal loans. Private loan, as opposed to private loans. Private loans are not eligible for any entitlements that the federal government offers federal loan borrowers. And so those entitlements are deferments, forbearance, cancellation, discharge, and all of that other stuff. So if you have private loans, then no, your private loans are not eligible for forgiveness.
Awesome.
Does that answer the question?
Okay. Does that answer your question, Dope Aggie Chick? And Facebook user said thank you. All right. So that's awesome. Nicole, you got any more questions? I told you this is out of my league. My thing is mostly for my son. So that was one of my biggest things.
I would ask, do you help with default? If they've already went into default on their student loans, are you a resource that they can call to help?
Okay. Default's my baby. Working with a service, I was a supervisor of the department that handled repayment, and I work with alongside a guarantee agency. So most people who do contact me are people who are in default. I think for the last 2 years, I've been, I want to say, overwhelmed with calls from people who are actually in the home buying process days before closing, and they popped up in CAVers. And I think the first time someone mentioned it to me was a lender reaching out who was referred to me by somebody, and the person had some type of issue going on, and he wasn't aware that he was in default, and it was just so much going on, and I was just like, I need to talk to the person. I need to get some more information. I need to get a better understanding of what's going on. I ended up making some calls, and it was an error on the actual collection agency's part. It was an error on their part where they returned a payment, his final payment, to get him out of default. They returned it, which left him owing the collection agency, so they put him back in default for like a payment, like $80 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know, because I think a lot of people, and I've seen it a couple of times on my side, where they find out they're in default, or they knew they were, but did not realize it would affect them in the home buying process. And we had to get all of that straightened out before they could proceed. And then
I think the misconception is that people think student loan payment is optional. And I tell everyone, it's not an option. Either you're going to pay it voluntarily, or you're going to pay it involuntarily when they start garnishing your wages and taking your taxes. And a lot of times, most people don't act until they have either had their taxes taken or their wages have been garnished. The moratorium on student loans for the last 2 years would have been a great opportunity for everybody who has been in default to work with the collection agency to get their loan out of default, because one, the payments, if they would have done loan rehabilitation, would have counted as they would not have had to make those 9 payments for loan rehab. And those non-payments would have counted as qualifying payments to get them out of default. And this was just a great time to be able to do that. But a lot of times, the loans are sitting at the collection agency. Collection agency for student loans is not like Sprint or the doctor's office where they're calling you every time. Like, these people are not calling it. It's just sitting there. The loan is sitting in default, collecting fees and interest, and every day it's just growing and growing and growing, because they know eventually you're going to need to do something. And what people don't understand is that all money that's federal, they're not going to give you more federal money if you've mishandled other federal money. So federal student loans, if you mishandled it and then you go to the federal government and you want a federal home loan, it's kind of like, well, what about your federal student loans? So it definitely will circle back. And so what I do is I walk people through the process, because I don't think a lot of people realize that you can get your loans out of default, depending on and you may qualify for different things depending on what you've done before. Now, I've had people reach out and they've defaulted twice, unfortunately. So their options was a little more limited than other people, but there's definitely a way. It's just, you don't have as much time when you're a week before closing to resolve that. Time is of the essence, and there's nothing magical that I can do to get you clean up until that time if you're not prepared to pay your balance in full.
Awesome. That's a good question. So you work with lenders. You've worked with them in the past to kind of.
I work with several. I work with several realtors who may have clients who may have some issues with student loans and they need to get to a certain point. So yes, I do. I have the conversation with them, and if a lender has a CAVers issue, or they have a client that has a CAVers issue or issue with default, then I definitely have the conversation. For me, it's more so about the conversation. I'm not so much as don't do a lot of preying on the community because I know this is one area of weakness that we have, which is the financial literacy. So for me, it's more so about being able to provide the literacy. And most times, as long as we're just having a conversation, I don't mind having a conversation as long as you'll be willing to write the review on my Facebook page, because reviews is where I get clients, where I get actual clients. Everybody's not a client. Sometimes people just need a resource. They need a better understanding of things. And so what I don't want to do is prey on those who just need basic literacy. So I don't mind providing that.
Definitely. So how do you help your clients? Exactly, like what do you do and how do you do it? I know you got to go. So just how do you help them in a way? Like you're giving some great knowledge and you're dropping a lot of stuff, but exactly how do you help them or how are you?
So I deal with 3 different types of clientele. The first is those who are just entering in college. That's those who first generation students who are going through this process the first time. They need the literacy. So I do partner with the different organizations in the community, and sometimes I will host my own financial literacy events. I will do events on workshops on FAFSA, on student loan, on FAFSA, and all of that process. And then there's those who are in school who are about to graduate and now they're faced with student loan repayment. That's a whole nother different conversation. It's repayment options. It's what are my options? It's all these other things. Then there's those who are in default who needs the information on how to get out of default. So I help based off of what the situation is. Everybody's situation is different. Some people can come to me and they can say, I'm closing on a house in 4 days and I got the 50,000. Can you help me make the call to the collection agency to clear Cavers? Sure, I can do that. And I've had that happen before. And I've had some who said, no, I can't really clear it yet, but I need to get out of default. Can you help me? Can you be my voice as I talk to the collection agency? Because even though it's a collection agency for the Department of Education, they're still a collection agency and they're still trying to collect funds. So I know what they should be saying and they know what they should be saying, but sometimes they don't always say that. So with me being on the line and the person giving me authorization to talk for them, I'm just getting the ball rolling to get them where they need to be. So again, it just depends. I also work with businesses in the community. I've done a session on loan forgiveness because public service loan forgiveness is really big. I worked with someone. I went to their company and I spoke to their employees about that because their employees did qualify. I did something in Charlotte a couple weeks ago. So it just depends. I help based off of what is the request. Most of the times it's a request from me. And then what I do is I create whatever they want based off of what they want me to speak about. And then I just present and available to be a resource.
You just said a whole word because I had no idea. We always talk about credit repair and all of this. And the issue that a lot of our clients have is student loans, student debt, all this other stuff. And I had no idea that there was somebody out there like you that actually does this. So you just, honey, your number will be in my phone.
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely. And not a lot of times I will get a text and somebody will say, and it's crazy because people will actually be on Facebook and they'll say, you're not going to believe this, but I found you on Facebook. I typed in Cavers and you came up and I started reading all your stuff. And that's how people actually use Facebook as a resource, which boggles my brain, but they do. So what I do is I post a lot of information out there because there's lots of things going on, especially in higher education right now. There's lots and lots of stuff. And so what I try to do is I try to break it down and make it more meaningful. Just like I think a few months back when the articles was being posted about Nelnet forgiving student loans and everybody got excited. Everybody who was with Nelnet thought for sure their loans was about Navient. Everybody thought that their loans were about to be forgiven. And it's like, no, babies, read the article. And they said y'all getting some restitution for a couple hundred for the people that they identified, but private loan borrowers were getting forgiveness. So it was just kind of like being able to explain that because, who are you going to call when you have answers for that stuff?
Definitely. Look, we're gonna have to have you back. I know you got to go and all this other stuff, but you got to come back because I'm telling you, audience,
definitely.
Yes, and audience, if y'all can't come to the live, y'all need to leave y'all questions with us. So
yes, definitely do that, and I will definitely respond. Again, I've been in this industry for over 20 years. I've seen it all. I heard it all. If I haven't heard it, it doesn't exist. That's how I'm extremely confident in my ability. This is just what I do. It's what I know. It's what I do. So if anybody has any questions, or if I didn't answer something clearly for somebody who was hearing something or whatever, then definitely reach out. They are able to schedule free consultations on my Facebook page with me to discuss whatever they want to discuss. As long as you're willing to write a review. I may not charge you, but I may charge somebody else.
Definitely. All right. So
that's great.
Tell them how to get in contact with you. I know your information is at the bottom of the screen, but just tell them anyway, because some people don't read.
Yes, so I do have a business page on Facebook. It is called the Higher Education Literacy Provider H.E.L.P. You'll see my picture on my website. You are able, on my Facebook page, excuse me, you are able to schedule an appointment with me to just talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. You can also shoot me an email, and that is my business phone number that's going through there, 919-371-5297. So definitely just reach out. It doesn't matter what the question is. It may be something you heard. It may be something you're going through. It may be something for somebody else, but I believe in providing the gift of literacy. Each one teach one. So if there's something you need, just definitely reach out.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on today, girl. I learned a lot. I really appreciate you. And I promise you, I'm not just saying it, you're going to be in my phone.
Oh, yes, definitely.
And if you're not a member of the Clubhouse, make sure you join, because I already know so many people, they're going to have so many questions. A lot of people, they're not on lunch right now, and they go back and they watch our lives, and they're going to have some questions afterwards. So yes, join our group and drop your information and a link so they can contact you at the bottom of this video later on. I'll send you the link and I'll show you how to get there. But yeah, thank you for coming so much. Thank you so much for coming, girl. I learned a lot. And enjoy your day, and we'll talk to you later.
All right, y'all have a good one. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye. Girl, oh, my bad. Girl, I enjoyed that was awesome. My audience, they had a lot of questions. I'm really excited because I already know once they go back and they catch up on this live, they're going to have some more questions. But yeah,
it's great because for one, some of the companies that she was talking about when she first came on, I've encountered them, but to know that there's somebody out there that's helping, that's willing to give advice, but especially for those that are getting ready to start this journey in the schools and stuff, and being able to have somebody that could advocate on their behalf before we start inquiring all that debt, and then for us to have some that need to figure out how to navigate it at this point is a good thing, because we do every now and then you'll hear somebody say something about forgiveness, and a lot of us are looking and holding our breath trying to figure out, are they really going to forgive it, or what we need to do so we don't default. Because I've had friends that have defaulted and their income taxes are gone. They're oh bless you, taking their payroll checks, and that's not a fun place to be in. So knowing that there's a resource out there to help is awesome. That's awesome.
Yes, that's really awesome. I mean, I'm telling you, I had no idea that it was available. And that was one reason why, because as an adult, I remember, I think my baby, probably 10 years ago, I was thinking about going back to school or whatever. And I didn't, because I was like, I can't afford that. I can't pay these monthly payments. Like, what is this? Like, yeah. Once I saw those numbers, I was like, no. And then a few more times I thought about going back, and I wouldn't, because I didn't want to have to make those payments. But yeah, y'all have resources out there. You can consolidate it. You can refinance it. They have scholarships and all kinds of stuff, girl. So I'm really excited. I am. But yeah, you got anything else you want to add, honey, before we go?
I knew this was going to be interesting, because I think it's that one part of the home buying process and our education process that we just don't get enough information about. And I think if we could get more before we start getting the loans would be great. And we're throwing a whole lot of information when you're trying to enroll for school, but it's like, let's just figure out how to get through school. And then once you get through school and then you got $80,000 worth of debt, it's like, okay, I can't get a job that's going to pay for that. Not right coming out. So a lot of us just put it off and do forbearances and deferments. And before you know it, you then rolled up a whole lot of monthly payments in student loans.
Yes. Someone said very informative. Definitely. Because like she said, that's like one thing in our community. And myself, I was thinking that too, because like I said, all of my clients, I see my clients, they're complaining. I've had people who get approved for less, because I'm like, why do they need my information? Like, you live with me. You grown. They don't know that. So yeah, I had no idea. I thought it was going to be on my credit. I'm just thinking it's going to pop up later on down the road. So yes, that's really good information. Yeah. So yeah, audience, again, if y'all have any questions, just make sure y'all drop them in the box, and we'll get you her information, and we'll make sure she get inside the Clubhouse so she can answer a lot of y'all questions also. But yeah, if y'all don't have any more questions, thank you guys for tuning in today. For those of you guys who are new to the group, we go live every Wednesday and every Friday. We go live at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We go live on YouTube and we go live in our private group on Facebook, Home Buyers Clubhouse. Home Buyers Clubhouse. You can also reach me at 919-818-9854. My name is Jessie Lynn. I'm a Triangle Realtor with A to Z Realty. Nicole.
I am Nicole Crawford with Keller Williams Realty out of the Greensboro Triad area, and I can be reached on my cell, which is 336-457-3007.
And you guys, for those of you guys who would like to reach us outside of the clubhouse, you can reach us at www.thehomebuyerclubhouse.com. Again, that is www.thehomebuyerclubhouse.com. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Have an awesome weekend. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.